Hi, guys. Welcome to Learn Biz, the podcast. I'm Lisa,
And I'm Sandy.
and we're here to talk about a very specific topic in business tonight, and that is customer service dead? And we asked that question because there's so many instances out there where people have encountered bad customer service. I certainly have an example of that. How about you, Sandy?
I think I have a ton of examples of that on both customer side and business side.
So yes, it's enough that make you want to cry. And I'll tell you mine briefly. So I was dealing with a vendor who was supposed to come in do an installation. Um, I'm one of those people that checks the dates and calls and verifies. So within 30 days of the date, I called to verify. Within 2 weeks of the date delivery date, I called to verify. Um, and a few days before I called, and sure enough, we're on the schedule. Nothing had changed. Come the day of the delivery installation, we get no call. Nobody shows up. I call, and we're not on the schedule, and they don't know anything about it. And long short of it is that we ended up having to reschedule. Very, very inconvenient in our lives, but no one from the company ever called back to apologize or give a reasonable explanation. That's my story. And so I've encountered too many of these situations like this where people just feel like, I don't know if they feel like they don't need your money, they don't care. I'm not sure what it is, Sandy.
Well, look, in thinking of this topic and saying, is customer service dead or have customers lost their darn mind? I'm finding more and more as I'm out there, whether it's going through drive-throughs, whether it's going into a store, whether it is, speaking to someone on the phone about receiving a certain type of service. It almost seems like there's a coldness, and there's not even a desire to say, hey, how are you doing? Thank you for coming to my store, or thank you for, you know, choosing, this service, or anything like that. It's more like, what do you want? And I've even had it. It's like, I had to call a doctor's office today, and I'm calling them for a specific reason because I was referred to speak with them about a situation that I'm dealing with. And, you know, I called, I asked for the doctor. They were like, the doctor's not available. I can take your number. And the lady was literally like, well, what do you need? I was like, what do you need? More like,
Wow.
how can I help you? Or, like those little things I'm finding less and less. And I'm finding more of it's kind of like you're bothering the person. And mind you, you're coming to patronize a business, or you're coming to do something where someone's getting paid to do a job. And if
Right.
you weren't coming in, they wouldn't be getting paid. It's like one hand washes the other. So, I think more and more as I'm looking at these situations, it's not only that I feel like customer service is somewhat dead, but,
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we're starting to expect things that are just not happening at all across the board.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that we should start expecting to actually respond to these behaviors more, not in a negative sense, because we don't know what that other side is dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Because as an example, today I was somewhere and they were like, they just don't have enough staff right now. They just don't have enough staff. So when you're seeing that things aren't available or things aren't able to be sent out, I think because we are in this COVID era, we're like
Yeah.
in COVID phase 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not realizing the lasting impact that it's had.
Yeah.
And that's why this question, it's touchy.
Yeah. Absolutely. It really is touchy. And just like you said, it's almost as if it's trending. And this not good for business. So I feel like one of the things I learned early in business is that good customer service is key to the longevity of your business. When people think about if they're going to come back and do business with you again, they think about those little things like great relationships and good customer service.
Right.
So to me, I will never throw that way as an entrepreneur. I will always value that. But like you said, there's many more examples of just the opposite out there. I wonder what a lot of you are experiencing out there.
Yeah, I think this is ripe for, conversation and commentary. I would love for folks to leave a comment, maybe share some of their experiences with customer service, share their thoughts about what they think is good customer service versus bad customer service,
Yeah.
but also from the business side, as entrepreneurs, as business owners. Um, we sometimes have a hard time with balancing this concept of serving the customer and running the business, right? You would
Yeah.
think that they run hand in hand, where it's, if I properly serve the customer, I can help my business run better. And it's like a relationship. But in thinking about all that's been going on and the way that people are having to cope with some of
Hmm.
the things that are impacting not only their bottom line, but their ability to bring in, income.
Right.
A business has to collect, a customer has to be able to afford to pay. It's a song and dance.
Yes.
So I think that there's a lot of little nuance to this. I just really wish that at a core basic level that people understood, how to deal with this, because when someone contacts your business, they're giving you an opportunity to keep your business in operation. So
Hmm.
the last thing you want to do when someone's first impression of your business is kind of like, well, what do you want? Wait, when someone's calling your business, it should be like, hey, thank you so much for contacting us.
Exactly.
And we appreciate you for considering us.
Right.
That should be the mode. And then in the same token, the customer can feel like, hey, okay, it's also with the customer side. I've seen situations where people complain about, customers reaching out and just saying, I need, instead of saying, hey, how are you doing today?
Right.
I'm calling because, the little, simple courtesies
Right.
of communicating, you know.
Exactly. I think you were telling me about an example not too long ago where a situation with some professional, someone called, there was a death with the professional's family or something like that, and where they
Right,
may not have responded back appropriately or within a certain time. And the customer just had no regard for that, but it was only interested in their particular matter.
yeah,
It's just those things flow back and forth. There should be sensitivities
yeah.
flowing from clients, from customers to business owners and business persons to customers. I mean, it's relationships and we all deserve to be respected.
And I think, looking from the entrepreneur perspective, I think it's important for us to tap into our thoughts about service. What are we doing in our businesses to express an appreciation for customers coming to us?
That's
What
true.
are we doing in our business to encourage more desires for people to reach out to us? Because, that first impression is a lot. And
It
while
really
there
is.
may be instances where you can repair something that goes wrong in that first impression makes a difference, right? So when I'm contacting your office, if you sound like you're bothered by me, if you sound like I'm just another number calling your line, oh, it's easy for me to hang that call up and call somebody else, right? I can just go down my line.
And I will. I do not play like that. If someone doesn't respect me and value me as a customer, then why should I give you my money? That's my question.
Right.
And so if I give you my money under those circumstances, then I feel like the idiot or the fool. So no, we won't operate like that.
Yeah, I've found more and more that I'm a bit discriminating when it comes to making decisions about choosing to do business with somebody. Like if I call your line and the first response I get is already a little off, no.
Yes.
If I walk into a store and I'm not acknowledged whatsoever and it's a small boutique or a small shop and I'm trying to support, no. Same
I
with
mean,
hair, same with nails, clothing,
yeah.
whatever it is that I'm purchasing. If I
Hmm.
don't feel like you appreciate my business, you either won't get my business at all, or if
Right.
I've already given you my business, you won't get it again. Um,
Exactly. Now, Sandy, here's the other thing. I think the businesses who feel like you need them regardless, like you can't do without them, I think those sometimes are the folks who take business from customers for granted. You know, some. some businesses out there just feel like you need them more than they need you. Probably cable companies and other type of utility services. They
Right.
know you need them and you got to have them. Uh,
Well, hold on. We have changed the tune right now, because one of the things that I'm noticing a lot is these, cable television providers, they're now competing with online streaming,
well,
because
that's
everything that I can get from a cable provider, I now can get from a YouTube stream.
well, there you go
You
there.
know,
So that's true. So they need to respect their customers because people can leave them. There are more alternatives. Internet TV is alive and well.
well, look at what happened with Sirius XM Radio. For a long time, people were heavily invested in spending money on that XM radio in their vehicles, right? Or even being
Hmm.
able to listen to it mobily. Um, they're begging people in a lot of ways now to get their service. I had their service when I initially bought my car a number of years back. And I thought it was great at the time. It was like, wow, I can listen to all these different types of radio stations. I'm not limited to the regular local stations. I can listen to talk radio, but the price tag was too much.
Yeah.
And then when you started to have the development of more of these services and more streaming and more access to radio options, Sirius XM Radio now is dirt cheap. Like, I can get it for the bare bones cheap. And that's something that, when I was begging them to give me something that made sense, they're like, oh no, this is the price. Well, now guess what? Every time I turn around, I get something in the mail. They're trying to offer me
Mhm.
the price that I thought it should have been to begin with. So, you know, um, the service level, the commitment to the consumer, the desire to keep people coming, it's going to make a difference down the line. Even if they are a consumer where you're thinking, you don't have an option, there's going to be a turning point, right? Because we're at an
Right.
age now where that technology is tipping the scales in every which way, right? An
Mhm.
entrepreneur today doesn't have to operate the way the regular brick and mortar used to have to operate years ago.
Right.
Anybody could have a business right now from the tip of their phone.
That's it.
They don't
That's it.
have to have a store. They don't even
Right.
have to have inventory. They can, drop ship and all kinds of other things.
Right. Right. So
So
it's not just product or service, or the price. So people look at quality service. People want to be treated well.
right.
And those things really make a difference. I went into a hair salon once and I felt like the queen of was that Namunda? Uh I felt like royalty. I mean, from the time I came in the salon, they put you in little slippers, they put you on a little thing, a little roby thingy before you start getting your hair done. They ask you about what type of wine you like to drink, and there's little nibbles that I mean, it was just great. And then you finish and you walk out and you look like a beauty queen. See, that's treatment. And that's what people want. So don't forget that. If you're in business, if you're an entrepreneur out there, one way to distinguish yourself from everybody else is to provide top notch customer service,
Yeah.
service that your customers will never forget. How about
A-
that?
And you know what? If you don't provide that type of service, your customers will never forget it either. Because I've gone to a couple of different nail salons in the last, I'd say, the last 3 to 6 months.
Hmm.
And the one thing that I remember from both experiences was I didn't feel like what you just said. I didn't feel valued and appreciated. It wasn't cheap. And I also felt like it was just like I was just another person.
Right.
And I remember that to this day. And it's a reminder, because you might get my business today, but you definitely won't get my repeat business, right? And then
Exactly.
somebody asked me, hey, what do you think of this salon? You're definitely not going to get a good recommendation from me. Now, I'm not going to go to your Google and go write a bad review. I'm not going to do certain things because I'm not trying to hurt you. But I
Right.
didn't feel appreciated in that instance. And I will never refer you to anybody, right? And that's something that, anyone, it can happen to anyone, right? We all have had instances where we've provided some kind of negative or bad service, because we're human. There's going to be a thing that happens and we may have to rectify situations. But overall, it has to be a practice of ours to try to attempt to provide the best quality service that we can. things happen, situations present themselves, but it's not only what you do at that time, but it's also, how you work through your situations and realizing, all right, you know what, I didn't really do the greatest job in this case. All right, the next one that I get, I gotta take it up a notch. And then I also have to try to rectify here. I could try to see if I can make that relationship a little bit better. Sometimes it works,
And
sometimes it
sometimes
doesn't.
it doesn't. You may lose someone if you didn't treat them well. In
Yeah,
this case, going back to this particular vendor, I need what I need. So I'm dealing with these folks
right,
reluctantly because I need to go ahead and get this project completed. But if there was anybody else that could have jumped in their place and came in and filled the void and just, oh my God, that would have given me great joy
right.
because I appreciate good customer service and I don't mind paying a little bit more for that.
Now, in thinking about this topic about customer service, we oftentimes will focus on the businesses, right? We'll say, oh man, the business, they need to do better and they need to do this. But sometimes it's like, have the customers lost their darn mind, right? Like, do they really expect this type of thing? Because I've been seeing a trend of, lack of boundaries. I've had some situations recently in my practice where I'm like, people will call at all kinds of hours, day and night. And I'm thinking, you know, you can tell that there are some hours associated with an office, right? If you're calling an office, you should anticipate that there's like a range of hours that they're going to be available. So calling
Mhm.
someone at 10 o'clock at night doesn't
Yeah.
really make logical sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's
Um,
true.
but I'm seeing this behavior of now. I want it now. It's like that commercial, I want it now.
No,
I
no,
want my
no, no,
money.
no.
And I'm like,
I love
I get it. We all are going through different things. Sometimes the time that you have to make a call is at an odd hour. But also recognizing that, if you call an office on a holiday or on a weekend and they're closed, you got to expect that you might have to just call back when they're open, right? There can't be an expectation that, people are going through their missed calls on a holiday, right? And also recognizing that sometimes, we do what we do to refer business to our friends and family. But I've had a trend with friends and family who will give people my personal number. And I'm like, but I have a business line. Like, I need you to give them the business line because now you got people calling me on my personal line at any time of day or night, holiday, weekend. And the boundaries are kind of non existent. They'd be like, let me call you on the middle of the day on a Saturday. And I'm thinking, I may answer the phone just because, I may recognize the number or something like that. But it's like, did you think about the fact that you're dialing me on a Saturday versus dialing me on a Monday through Friday during my regular business hours? But I'm sensing a lack of boundary there because we're so used to having access to things 24/7 right now at our
Yes,
fingertips,
yes. That's what
right?
it is. And people use the phones more because of COVID conditions and things like that. And some
Right.
people's hours have changed. Now, I will tell you, I'm the type of person I will take a chance. I'll call a business. They even if I don't know if they're open on the weekend, I'll
Right.
take that chance. Just to take the chance. Because if that's something I'm dealing with at that time. So
Right.
if they pick up, they pick up. If they don't, they don't. And yeah, that might have to carry over till next week or Monday or what have you. But yeah, I definitely have taken chances like that with certain businesses.
And that I don't mind. It's this idea that I called you on Saturday and it's Monday and you're calling back like, I called you on Saturday, you didn't answer. What? You called me on a day that I'm not open and you expected me to answer? Not that you would appreciate if I answered, right? Because if I answered, we would have spoken and we would have dealt with whatever the situation was.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the fact that you will listen to a message that says I'm closed, regular business hours are here, and then still expect somehow that I will immediately get to you, right? Especially if you don't leave a message, right? You don't even leave a message. So somehow I'm going to be going through the call logs from Saturday and Sunday. That's the stuff that's kind of weirds me out a little bit. Because I get it. I even call, certain businesses because, maybe you don't know what their hours are. Maybe it's by
Right.
appointment only. But it's this feeling of I almost describe it as an entitlement. It's like
Well,
I'm so used
I
to
ignore
looking at
people like that. You set them straight. You
it.
set them straight early and often in business, and you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah,
Once you get those clearly set boundaries with people, they understand how far that they can go with you on anything.
right.
But you establish those boundaries early and often in business, and then you're okay. But I have definitely had some clients. I mean, some folks pay you a little money and want to feel like they own you. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, this ain't pimping, dog. There's a business here. I
Yeah.
provide a service, but you don't own nothing now. You don't own me. So it's some people are just weird. You just got to set clear boundaries and expectations, and then it usually works out. That's what I've found in business.
And I think the balance here between the entrepreneur side and the customer side is, we have to be mindful of each other. Whether you are someone that's seeking some services from a business or some products from a business, we have to be mindful of the time frame that we're in. We have to be mindful of the way that we are reaching out, what we're communicating about, how we're connecting with a business. We have to be mindful that, we're in a different time right now. It is a now generation, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get everything we want now. But as a entrepreneur in the age of technology, in the age of the now, I can click a button and I get it. We have to be able to adjust to that timing too. And maybe
Mhm.
it is time for us, maybe as service providers to have more subscription services or things that give a little more flexibility. Maybe if we sell products, we have to be able to do more of a quick turnaround, right? Because if I order something from you today and it takes weeks to get it, I may turn to somebody else who can get it to me tomorrow. So it's finding a little bit of a balance between the two places, and kind of bridging the gap between customer service and provision of service, right? Um, so I think there's a lot to be had in the conversation. So I'm hoping that folks will leave some comments, and I'm glad that we were able to at
Yes,
least tap on this.
definitely, definitely. Don't give up on good quality customer service entrepreneurs. Never.
Absolutely not. So this is another one, another quick topic brought to you by Learn Biz, the podcast. Please take a look at our playlist. We have 12 episodes up from season 1, and we
Yay.
also have the first 3 episodes of season 2. So you have plenty to watch, very short, easy clips to watch, and we look forward to hearing more comments from you, our viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.